Today I'm going to talk to you about the very best store-bought weed control I've found for warm season lawns, and it can be used on Bermuda, zoysia, St. Augustine, centipede, and Bahia grass. That's right, it can be used on all of them, including my friends with finicky Bahia. Along with that, I'm also going to show you step by step how to mix and apply so you can be confident that you're doing it right and that you'll get the results that you expect. This is it. It's called Image for Southern Lawns, and for 2025, it has a brand new look. This is what the bottles used to look like, and for years in the lawn care community, we fondly referred to this as Image Purple Top. Now, with this new modern look and feel, I thought about calling it Image Midnight Top, but we can't do that because, as you're gonna see, I'm gonna be making another video here in a few weeks. It's called Image Nutsedge Killer, and it also has a midnight top, but you can tell the difference because the Image for Southern Lawns, it has the purple text, and the Image Nutsedge Killer has the greenish yellow. And so to avoid confusion in this video and going forward, we're just gonna call this by its proper name, Image for Southern Lawns. It's the one with the purple text. So here's the good news. With the Image for Southern Lawns and the updated look, what's in the bottle has not changed, and therefore the stellar results that we get, they won't change either. It's available at most big box retailers and is especially good for those of you dealing with dollar weed and clover, or for me right now, I'm being overrun with dog fennel, and then there's always my arch nemesis that hits me every single year, dayflower. I encourage you to open up the label that is actually stuck to the back of the bottle here and look at the list of weeds that are controlled. It's quite extensive. Here's why. It's because this isn't just a one-trick pony weed killer. You see, a lot of weed controls that you get, they have one single active ingredient, and that means just one single mode of action, and that's it. The Image for Southern Lawns, it actually contains 4 active ingredients with 3 distinct modes of action. The mode of action, it basically means how the herbicide affects the plant, disrupts its processes, and finally makes it die. You can see the active ingredients and their concentrations listed right here in the bottom right front part of the label. So you can see them right there from the bottom up. Dicamba and 2,4-D, sulfentrazone, and panoxylam. Let's first look at 2,4-D and dicamba. Many of you will be familiar with 2,4-D and dicamba because they're quite common in weed controls, and these are known as synthetic auxins. Synthetic auxins, which are group 4 herbicides, they can also be referred to as plant growth regulators, but not in the way that most of you think about it. Many of you know that in our community, we often think of plant growth regulators as chemicals that slow down a lawn's growth. You know, guys with Bermuda grass, for example, they'll use them so that they don't have to reel mow their lawns every single day. PGRs are used quite often on low-cut lawns, but that's a completely different class or type of plant growth regulator. The auxin growth regulators that we're referring to with 2,4-D and dicamba, they actually do the opposite. They speed things up beyond the plant's ability to survive. Auxin herbicides are systemic, which means they get inside the plant either through the leaves or through the roots, and they work their way up and down and all around the interior of the plant, and they get in and they speed up and disrupt the plant's internal processes. Broadleaf weeds exposed to auxin herbicides, they basically grow so fast that they blow up from the inside out. At higher concentrations, you'll see weeds twisting, curling, and cupping, and sometimes you'll see that within just a few hours of the application time. The second active ingredient is sulfentrazone, which is a PPO inhibitor. This active ingredient is a group 14 herbicide and represents just 0.14% of the total, but it brings a completely different mode of action to the mix. PPO inhibitors, they're more contact type herbicides rather than systemic. They basically burn the outside of the leaf tissue, turning it brown. And the fourth and final active ingredient is panoxylam, which is an ALS inhibitor. Panoxylam is a group 2 herbicide, and its mode of action is also referred to as an amino acid synthesis inhibitor. What it does is it shuts off the plant's ability to produce an enzyme, acetolactate synthase, and without that enzyme, the plant can't produce amino acids, which are the building blocks of cells. This herbicide works systemically and is absorbed directly through the leaves of the plant. And that is why Image for Southern Lawns is effective on such a long list of weeds that we face, because it attacks from 3 angles, or again, what we call modes of action. So now that you know why it works so well, let's go ahead and let's mix some up and go out and spray. But before we do, I want to let you know, if you have a lawn that is a majority of weeds and you need to blanket spray, you can absolutely do it the way I'm about to show you here with a backpack sprayer, but there's also this hose-in sprayer version available, and it makes it so you don't have to mix anything. You just hook up your hose and go. For me, my weeds are kind of scattered and sparse, so I'm gonna use the backpack sprayer here just so I can target exactly where the weeds are and make sure I get them good and wet. Now, when we look at the label here, we can see that the rates, they're listed not only for each grass type, but there's also a range. I have Floratam St. Augustine, for example, and so you can see the range there is 5.2 to 8.6 ounces in 1 to 4 gallons of water. I always like to do things in 1 gallon increments. It just makes it easy and consistent for everything else that I do. And so to make it easy for this video, I'm gonna use the rate of 6.2 ounces per 1 gallon of water. And I'm doing that because I know a lot of you'll watch these videos while you're mixing in your driveway and you follow exactly what I do, kind of like you're following a recipe for cooking. And so by me mixing at the 6.2 ounces per 1 gallon, all of you, no matter what warm season grass you have, you can follow this exactly and you'll be in compliance within the labeled rates. You won't be too heavy, so there's nothing to fear. So I want to reiterate, if you're just going to copy exactly what I'm doing, it's fine. For all warm season turf, the mix rate is 6.2 ounces of this concentrate into 1 gallon of water. And then from there, if you're gonna blanket spray, that 1 gallon of spray mix can cover 1,000 square feet, or for me, I'm spot spraying, so I'm just gonna spray the weeds until they're wet. Of course, if you're more advanced and you have a really thick, heavy weed infestation and you wanna use the high rates, that's perfectly fine, go for it. But again, I'm gonna reiterate, because repetition is the key to learning, and confidence. For those of you that are doing this for the first time, it's 6.2 ounces of concentrate into each gallon of water, and you'll be able to take care of almost all the problem weeds you see. That rate is gonna work just fine for the majority of you. Now, I don't have a lot of weeds, so I'm just gonna mix up 2 gallons of spray mix. That'll be plenty for me to cover. And then my neighbor's got some weeds next door he asked me to spray. But again, I'm just gonna do 2 gallons of spray mix. And I'm gonna start off by filling my sprayer halfway with water first. And before we go any further, I wanna review the PPE, the personal protective equipment. For this product, you wanna wear rubber gloves, long sleeves, long pants, shoes, plus socks. Good to go. I'm using the red fan tip here, and that's because it's going to deliver that smaller droplet size, or that finer mist, which helps me to coat the weeds and get them thoroughly wet. The key when spraying is to spray the weeds wet with uniform coverage. We need the systemic actives to be able to get into the plant as much as possible, and the only way they can do that is if you get the weeds completely wet. Okay, now before I show you the results that I got, a couple of things to consider before and after you spray. First, you do not want to mow the lawn for 2 days before your application or for 2 days after. This is because we want maximum leaf surface available, number one, when we spray, to be hit or absorbed or wetted with the weed control. And then secondly, you don't want to mow too soon after, because that weed control, remember, it's systemic. It gets in and it moves through the plant. You don't want to come in too soon and cut off the plant and take away the weed control that's been absorbed inside of it. Number next, keep people and pets out of the area while you spray, and then don't let them back into the area until the spray is completely dried. In my experience, that's 15 to 20 minutes, but I usually keep people and pets out for an hour just to be sure. Also, there is an 85-degree temperature restriction on this product, which means you don't want to spray it if outside air temperatures are 85 or higher. However, all you got to do is, if you want to apply it, is just wait till the temperatures are lower, like in the early morning or the evening, and then you can apply and you'll be all good. Lastly, you should see results on the weeds you sprayed beginning in just a few days, with full results coming between 14 and 28 days. However, if you have a really bad weed infestation and you need to spray again, you want to wait at least 30 days for your next application. So there you go. That's how and why you mix and apply Image for southern lawns. I hope this gives you the confidence to get out and take care of weeds in your lawn this season. And stay tuned and subscribe, because here in a few weeks, when the annual onslaught of Kalinga nutsedge hits my lawn, I'll be making some content just like this one on the sister product, Image Kills Nutsedge. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you in the lawn.